In a lively town filled with narrow cobblestone streets, colorful shop windows, and the constant hum of people going about their days, there wandered a small dog. He was a pug, round and compact, with short legs, a soft belly that swayed when he walked, and large round eyes that always seemed to be asking the world, "Is there a place for me?" He belonged to no one. People passed him every day. Some stepped over him. Some muttered for him to move. Many did not notice him at all, as though he were only a shadow slipping between their feet. And because he belonged to no one, he had no name. He had no bowl to eat from, no warm bed to sleep in, and no person to curl up beside when the nights grew cold. He scavenged for scraps near markets and bakeries. Sometimes a kind child dropped a crumb. Sometimes a shopkeeper tossed out a piece of bread. But on many days, his belly rumbled loudly as he searched for even a single bite. Still, despite the hunger and the loneliness, he wagged his little curled tail whenever someone looked his way. Hope was the one thing he carried everywhere. One afternoon, clouds gathered over the rooftops like heavy gray blankets. A breeze rushed through the streets, lifting newspapers and rattling shutters. The little dog looked up nervously. He knew what was coming. Rain, cold, soaking rain. When the sky finally opened, water poured down in a steady curtain. People rushed to pull their coats tighter or ran for shelter beneath doorways and awnings. The pug hurried along, searching for a dry corner, but the rain found him no matter where he went. It dripped from his ears, soaked through his fur, and chilled him to the bone. Just then he spotted a tall woman walking down the street. She wore a long, elegant coat and a wide hat decorated with a shiny ribbon. She carried herself with such grace that she looked like she came from a different world, one where small, wet, stray dogs did not exist. Still, the pug trotted toward her, tail wagging hopefully. Maybe she would offer him shelter. Maybe she would smile at him. She did not notice him until she reached the door of her grand townhouse. As she reached into her handbag for her keys, she glanced down and spotted the soggy little creature at her feet. "Oh, goodness!" she exclaimed, pulling her foot back as if he might bite. "What are you doing here?" The dog lifted his head, blinking at her through wet eyelashes. He wagged his tail softly. She leaned closer for a moment, just enough to take in the sight of him, but immediately recoiled, gripping her coat as though his dampness might leap onto her. "Terrible," she muttered. "Absolutely terrible. You're filthy. Your eyes are bulging like a startled insect. Your body is round as a squashed pumpkin, and I can hear you breathing like a tiny old man. No, no, no. Go away." Her voice rose sharply. "Shoo! Off with you! I don't want something like you near my house." The pug froze. Her words hit hard, sharper than the raindrops sliding down his back. His wagging tail slowly lowered until it curled tightly against his legs. He bowed his head and turned away, walking down the steps with the slow, heavy steps of someone who had hoped too much and heard too little kindness. But at that very moment, standing a few houses down, were two people who had seen and heard everything, one tall and gentle, the other small and bursting with curiosity. The smaller one gasped. "A puppy!" the child cried, running toward him with excited footsteps splashing through puddles. Before the pug could react, small arms wrapped around him. The unexpected warmth made him stiffen for a moment, but only a moment. Then he melted into the embrace like snow into sunlight. "He's a little dirty," the child observed cheerfully, brushing mud from his fur. "But he's really cute." The taller figure, kind eyes, warm smile, approached and knelt beside them. "He must be lost," the adult murmured softly, "or perhaps he has no one to take care of him." The pug lifted his head. No disgust, no frowns, no wrinkled noses. The adult's voice was gentle, full of something he had rarely felt directed at him, concern. The child hugged him tighter. "You're not ugly," they whispered into his fur, as though speaking directly to his heart. "That woman back there was just being awful. My teacher says we shouldn't judge people by how they look, and I think that rule should count for dogs, too." The adult sighed and gave the child a gentle look. "We shouldn't talk unkindly about others," they reminded. "But it's true," the child insisted. Then, with hopeful eyes shining brighter than the rain-wet street, they looked up. "Can we keep him? Please, I'll take care of him. I'll even let him sleep with me." The adult hesitated for only a moment. Then they smiled, brushing raindrops from the pug's head. "If no one comes to claim him," they said softly, "he may stay with us." The child cheered so loudly the pug flinched, but in a happy way. Their laughter filled the whole street. It filled the pug, too, filled him with warmth he had never known before. They held him close and whispered, "You can come home with us." Home. The little dog had never had such a word. The house they brought him to was small, but full of life, filled with soft blankets, warm lights, and smells that made his nose wiggle with delight. The moment they stepped inside, the child hurried to show him every corner. "This is the kitchen," they said, "and this is the bookshelf. Don't chew the books. Only a few of the old toys are okay. Oh, and this is where I keep my socks. You can't have these either, but maybe one, if it's lonely." The adult returned with a fluffy towel and scooped the pug gently into it, drying him with slow, soothing movements. When he was warm again, they placed a bowl of soft food in front of him. He didn't hesitate. He gobbled it so fast that both the child and adult laughed out loud. "That poor thing," the adult murmured. "We must take good care of him." The pug felt his tail wag completely on its own. This wasn't like the quick pats he used to get from strangers. This was tenderness. This was a home. Days passed, and the pug learned many things. That the warmest place in the world was the child's lap. That falling asleep on a soft bed felt like floating on a cloud. That someone lifting you does not always mean fear. Sometimes it means being loved. He discovered the joy of running inside when it rained instead of being stuck outside. He found out that squeaky toys existed. He learned baths were not terrible, especially when followed by treats. He snored sometimes, loudly, happily, and instead of being scolded, the child giggled and said it was the cutest sound in the whole world. Most importantly, he learned that love was not something you had to chase. Sometimes it found you all on its own. One day, while the three of them were walking through the town, they passed the fancy woman again. She paused, eyes wide, recognizing the little dog. "Oh, my," she said, startled. "Someone actually took that messy creature in?" The dog looked up at the child and adult beside him. They smiled back at him with the kindest faces he had ever known. He turned away from the fancy woman and continued walking beside his people, tail high, steps proud. He had once been a nameless stray with no home and no hope. Now he had a warm bed, a full belly, gentle hands, and hearts that cared for him. He did not need anything more. He had a family, and that was better than any name he could ever have been given.